Hey guys, welcome to Utterly Unfiltered with Tash and Cara.
Welcome back.
I'm Cara.
And I'm Tash.
And thanks for joining us again.
Yes, happy Monday.
Yeah, if you've managed to stay with us for this long, you must be pretty patient with, as a person, with dealing with all of our faux pas and technological issues and me just laughing throughout the last one and really struggling to pull my shit together. But I did in the end.
You did, yes.
I did. Thank God we got there.
Forcibly.
Forcibly. Tash was like, Cara, I'm going to give up if you don't
pull yourself together.
And it works. I feel like the harsh, the firm but fair approach works well with me.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're very
That's
welcome.
why our friendship works.
Yeah.
Because I listen to you.
Well, I am quite a defiant personality, so you know, if I'm sick of it, I'll just let you know.
You would. And I know this. Have you ever done a colour quiz?
Like disc profiles?
Yes, like what colour you are. Do you know
Yes.
what colour you are?
I'm a red with a touch of blue.
Which means?
So red is oh god, they have names, don't they? D-I-S, dominant.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And
like that, yeah.
The blue is I want to say it's the C, which is conscientious.
Okay.
That's a hard one, isn't
Ooh.
it? I think it's dominant, and then I is interested or influenced. I can't remember. And then S is sociable. No, ooh, I don't know. I've forgotten.
Okay.
But yes, I'm mostly red with a touch of blue, which basically means that I am very much to the point. Like, I'm results driven. I am like quite proactive.
I'd agree with all of that.
Yeah. But the blue is that kind of purpose-driven side where, like, I have to know the why behind doing something.
Sure.
I have to, like, understand the details before I go head first into it. Like, I will go head first, but not if I don't think it's worthwhile. So the blue part of me is, like, the analytical part. It's like, why are we doing this? What's the reason? What will the outcome be? Like, is it worth our time?
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's mine. What's yours? Do you
I know I don't. I need to psychoanalyze. I think I would probably not be very analytical. I don't always think things through. I think I'm very much a feeling person.
I think that you would be a yellow, which is like the very like sociable and like influencive. That's not a word, is it?
It is not. But
You like influence others through your like enthusiasm and that kind of thing. And I think that's what you would be probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you said influence, I was thinking, I've just posted on Instagram that I was obsessing about posting over for like a long time, just ridiculously, because probably 10 people, including my mum and most of my family, and you will go and like, so thank you. But it was something to do with like, be the wayward sheep. Kind of wanted to be like, if you're going to be a sheep, make sure the sheep that you're trying to be like are like crazy and chaotic and fun, if that's what you want, you know.
Yes.
So influence, because I have always typically been a little bit more of a follower than a leader.
Yes.
I think only now I'm sort of confident enough, not to lead other people, no ways, but to just
Go your
lead
own
myself, to take charge of myself.
Yes.
Take accountability for who I am.
Exactly.
Which leads us nicely into, does it lead us
Well,
nicely?
today's
into the
episode,
topic of-
I think we're going to call it, we weren't sure, but I think we should call it, I don't know who needs to hear this.
And I'm a sheep, so I agree.
And I have something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, and then we'll go to Cara and something that she's been thinking a lot recently, and we'll both share our little advice a little bit as two women in their who 27, and you know, obviously 27 is still pretty young. We don't know everything, but
We like to think we do sometimes, but we don't.
But I think when it comes to navigating our 20s, we've not had a boring ride of it, have we?
No, certainly not, no.
We've done a few different things. We've changed tacks a few times, and so therefore I feel like we've gathered enough experience over the years to justify sharing some advice. And you know what, the thing is as well, is you don't even really need to justify sharing advice, because at the end of the day, you ask your friends for advice about things all the time.
Well,
like,
it's just your experience and what you've learned, and we're all, as far as we know, or depending on what you believe, you know, my belief is that we're all living life for the first time.
Yeah.
We're all learning as we go. So, you know, why would you not hear out other people's ways of perceiving and doing, and then decide for yourself, right? Pick and choose how you want to be.
Yeah.
Based on that, so.
Absolutely. And anyways, well, what I've been thinking about, I'm actually quite bad at leading into things like this, but It is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. And there was a couple of reasons for this. I got inspired by a couple of different, people I've seen online or things I've heard. But there's two quite big ones. And one is Sabrina Carpenter's new album has come out.
Yes.
And I've never necessarily been a Sabrina Carpenter fan. If honestly, I didn't know anything about her until she toured with Taylor Swift. But I did enjoy like her two viral songs. And so I was looking forward to the new album, and it is so good.
So good.
Have you listened to it?
Only like 3 songs.
It's good.
I haven't had time. I want to sit down and actually take it in. Her one-liners are like excellent, right?
So good. And she's so like just non-serious in her songs. And she talks a lot about like being funny and like, like people like her because she's funny, or like no one will have her sense of humor type thing. And then I saw something on an Instagram story, and it was this girl from Love Is Blind a few years ago, and she said her husband had a dream last night, and he woke up laughing, and she was like, oh my god, who's making you laugh? And in his dream it was her making him laugh. And she was like, oh well, thank goodness, I'm the funniest person he knows, both in real life and in his dream. I'm doing the most. How lucky is he to have me because I'm so funny? And whilst obviously, to think that you have great skills like being funny is fantastic, but what I've realised, I think that sometimes that need to like prove to other people that you are either funny, beautiful, or talented in different ways, as to like prove your value to the world. But I actually don't think that you need to do that, like, at all. I think intrinsically, like, the whole concept of like being a high value woman is like something that was trending on that girl was trending on TikTok a while ago. And you already are intrinsically a high value woman. You don't have to prove it through any means. And sometimes that proving is more, I think you're depreciating your own value by believing that you are only valuable because of your comedic skills or your intellectual skills or your beauty. And these are just 3 very common tropes, but there are probably more other things that people can be deeming themselves valuable for.
Sure.
But actually, we are all intrinsically valuable on our own as we are. And what makes you a high value woman is being somebody who has healed or is healing from trauma or from experiences in their life, who puts time into themselves and developing themselves for themselves, and in whatever way that means. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, don't read a book so that other people think you're more interesting. Read a book because you want to be interested in that topic. Don't put on makeup because you want other people to think you're more beautiful. Put on makeup because you feel more confident, or you feel like it's an art skill of your own. You don't have to tell other people that you're funny. Like, be yourself, and that might be somebody who is naturally funny, but you don't need to declare these things to the world in order to be valuable. And I think that so often, if you think of Bridgerton, for example, or Pride and Prejudice, girls are valued based on their skills, on what they've acquired. She's a what's the word? It's a accomplished woman. And if you've ever watched Pride and Prejudice or Bridgerton, you'll have seen those. And they say, oh, this woman is valuable to me because she's accomplished in her, and then back then it was skills like, sewing, painting, music, that kind of thing. Well, they had maids to cook for them.
Well, only if they were like the high society.
True.
They never really show the sort of middleman, right?
Yeah, that's true. But that was what made you an accomplished woman. And I think we've translated that, as we've gotten, through society, into what makes you an accomplished woman is one who can attract people to them by being funny, talented, or beautiful. But actually, being an accomplished woman is being someone who is certain in themselves, because they have learned from their past experiences, they're healing their trauma, they're working on their attachment style, they are, becoming a whole and sturdy person entirely on their own.
Wow. I feel like
told you it was a big one.
No, that is actually like it rings true.
Yeah,
it absolutely rings true. I'm just listening to you, kind of trying to take it in myself, because I on a surface level, I know this. Like I can totally see that perspective, and I know it, and I know it to be true. And I listened to a song the other day, and a lot of my profound realizations come from music and songs I listened to, as you know, sort of the words and the lyrics, and it was something to do with, you know, living in a world you'll never satisfy, or it's basically like, and when you talk about you don't need to prove your value to people, I actually don't think it is possible to prove your value to people. I actually think you will be striving and striving for it forevermore, and never ever achieving it, because you just won't.
Exactly, you'll never be the funniest person, and a lot of this high value woman stuff is to do with relationships, and that works too. You'll actually never be the funniest person that your partner knows, nor necessarily the most beautiful, nor necessarily the most talented.
And you shouldn't have to be.
And you shouldn't have to be. You don't have to be the best in the eyes of other people. You can only be the best version of yourself.
But also, it would never work, because everyone has a different expectation of you. Everyone has a different expectation of everyone in their lives. So to one person, your value could come from being funny because they appreciate comedy.
Yes.
To another person, your value could come from beauty because they appreciate aesthetically pleasing things. You can't be everything to everyone.
And how exhausting must that be to try to be that?
And then how do you know who you are? And this is where I'm at. I am fully in the middle of this and trying to claw my way through of separating who I am versus who people expect or want me to be. I'm still struggling because I've been doing it for so long. The people pleasing thing, right?
Yeah.
And that I'm kind of a little bit lost in who actually am I? Who actually do I want to be? And I know for a fact social media is a bit of a slippery slope into this, because I am trying to promote my music and therefore myself. And there are definitely tendencies to become absorbed in it and think about, like, how many likes am I getting? How many comments am I getting? Like, do these strangers on the internet think that's a very weird thing that I posted with sheep? Or like,
valuable to them,
right. And actually, I probably think that I know that there is this element to me where I'm creating music because I want people to think I'm creative and skilled and skillful. It's when I'm writing and, you know, when it's just me and my guitar, where I feel valuable to myself, where I kind of am happy. But as soon as you share it, you put yourself up to the, you know, you throw yourself to the wolves, and you're basically like, you're asking people to judge you. Ultimately, you go on a stage and you're singing, you're opening yourself up to that, right? And you want people to like you and appreciate you because you want to do well with your music. So intrinsically, there is a very much a people-pleasing element to selling yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to fall into the trap of letting it affect how I think about myself.
So what I think when it comes to that is that by turning that focus onto yourself, even in the world of like influencers and pop stars where you're putting yourself on a stage to be judged by other people, I think that when you are turning that inwards and you're working on your worth and your value of yourself rather than how they see you, you become more magnetic because you're more confident in yourself. And by being more confident in yourself, it means that it's like confidence is energetic, right?
Yeah.
And so by working on healing, you know, those parts of yourself that do feel self-conscious, or, you know, who feel like they need to be liked, or you need to be liked by everybody, that people-pleasing tendency, whatever that is, by turning that off and turning it inwards instead, you end up attracting people more because who you are is more magnetic, because you're confident in yourself.
That is, and you can see it in other people, right? Already there's some people that spring to my mind who I actually look up to and admire for that very reason. That they just are, that they're embracing their like silly side. You know, they are confident because they know who they are and what they stand for and what they value, and they don't apologize for it. And I actually like that. I actually respect that in someone. So, you know, it's sort of logically, yeah, I can totally agree.
I think
the emotional side of you is still, I'm working on it not being, but it's still very much there. Of if I only get 10 likes on an Instagram post, I want to delete it because I'm mortified, I'm embarrassed, and that's not right and it's not healthy. But I'm just being totally honest. That I'm still there. I'm still there. I still take on board some of my value based on what other people, the feedback they give me. It's hard. It's a fine line with somewhere with like a platform that you're trying to promote yourself on, because you actively are trying to draw people in. I often have this debate with family and friends about you know, don't sort of go looking for the likes, don't go looking for the fans, don't just be who you are and let them come to you. And yes, I agree. But the other part of me is like, well, I don't know how not to promote. I don't know how not to want to draw people in. But I am. I'm trying to say, hey, this is me. Go listen to my music.
But I think the way to not do that is to just be certain in yourself that you've put out something that you are proud of. And therefore, why wouldn't other people want to be around that? It is that concept of like, why wouldn't other people want to see my value? Because I can see mine. If they don't, then that's on them. They are blind, clearly, by the fact that I am, you know, totally worthy and totally valuable and totally amazing on my own right.
Sure.
Do you see what I mean?
Sure, and yes, 100%, because going back to what we said about not being able to please everyone, like, I'm just relating it to Instagram because it's the most sort of, the most recent thing in my mind, is like you'll post something, and I'll ask you for advice, because again, I am seeking the sort of like approval and the validation, everything that you're not supposed to do, I'm doing. No, I shouldn't, I'm doing it. And like I'll say to my mum, I'll say, oh, what do you think? Like, was that one a bit, was it okay? Like, some of my posts are a little bit like, you know, I suppose wearing crop tops, or I'm showing a bit more skin than I usually would, or whatever. And just because I'm embracing my body now, and I'm proud, and I'm, you know, kind of getting back to a sort of more body positive place. So I'm doing that posting, and I'll say like, oh, Mum, do you think that's okay? And she'll be like, yeah, no, that's great. And then I'll say, oh, Dad, what do you think? Ooh, like, I don't know, it's a bit revealing. I'm showing no more skin than I would if I was wearing a bikini, you know, I'm actually showing way less. But what one person deems appropriate and quirky and fun and nice, another person will deem completely the opposite. So again, logically, yes, you can never please everyone.
No.
Getting to that point where you accept it and you make peace with it, and then you start thinking, okay, I can't please everyone, and I suppose the only person I can please is myself. And that should be, you should be your priority of who you want to. You're the one who goes to sleep with yourself every night. You're the one you wake up with. You're the one that you get through the day and the lifetime with. So you are the one that needs to be okay with who you are. And I'm saying this like I'm preaching. I'm not. I'm like, this is what I'm telling myself to try and coach myself into getting to that point. Do you feel like you're getting towards that point of?
Well, I think what it is, it's that what you're saying is correct, but there's even more to it, which is not just, you know, I need to do it for myself and for my own inner confidence and everything, which is true, but actually by being that confident person, doing that, you attract people to you, you become magnetic, people want to be around you, people want to, you know, men want to chase you, friends want to hang out with you, like, because followers want to follow you, because you have a magnetic personality, because you're certain and sure of yourself. So it's almost taking it one step further. It's like, yes, definitely work on that healing so that, you know, you don't feel shaken by other people's opinions, but take it one step further to the point in which you know that your opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. How does one go about doing that?
That's a great question, because it's something I've been thinking about this week. And the biggest thing I think I've realised is, and this is sometimes hard to articulate, but you cannot control anything other than yourself at all. And I say that as somebody who, you know, with OCD and like has a lot of control issues because of the safety of my friends and family and that kind of thing. Like that's how it, you know, manifests in my life, is I'm always hyper concerned about the safety of other people. And so I have control issues in that respect. Okay. But actually, no amount of worrying that I could ever do, sorry, my phone is ringing in my pocket. No amount of worrying that I could ever do will ever change the output or the results in the world. And that same thing comes, having that same thing, how do I say it? I have to edit that bit. But realising that you can't control how other people see you, you can only control how you see and work on yourself, is basically the way to do that. Rather than thinking about how what you post on Instagram will affect other people, think about how what you post on Instagram aligns with you and who you are. Do you feel proud of it? Do you feel confident in what you put out? Would you want to read it, watch it, listen to it? Those things, literally turn the focus around. Do it in relationships as well. Don't think about how can I make him want to go on a date with me on Friday. How can I make my friend think that I'm the best person to be around? You know, don't think about how can I make my parents proud of me or whatever. Turn it around. Think how can I. How do I want to hang out with my boyfriend this Friday? Do I want to? You know, what is the way in which I'd like to interact there? Or will I just leave it up to him and he'll come to me because I know that I, you know, can do whatever I want regardless, and I can't control, you know, the outcome of anything. Or with a friend, like, you know, you can reach out first every single time, or you can wait for them to come to you. And when you hang out, you can tell them what you want to do. And it's not, you know, you can compromise for sure, but don't think about how can my friend have the best time with me. Think about how I can have the best time with them.
Okay.
And it's not about being selfish or being unkind. You know, like, I consider myself an incredibly caring person. Like, that's one of a trait that I know I have and something I nurture. I still care about whether or not my friend has a good time. I care about how my partner feels about me. I care about what my parents think of my decisions. But I don't let those things control how I see myself or what I do.
Yeah. So you can absolutely maintain that compassion for other people.
Yes.
While owning yourself and claiming who you are and working on yourself. It doesn't have to. People often say that it gets branded as something and perceived as something selfish to say I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, I want to do this. I want to travel, so I'm going to travel. Like, if that person wants to come with me, they can, but I'm going.
Yeah.
And that's just a recent example, and someone said to me, "Oh, that's selfish. Like, you know, you need to think of this other person." But yes, I do, and I am. But I'm thinking of me too, and that should never be branded as selfish.
No.
It always has been, though. I mean, I've grown up with it. Like, if you do something that benefits you and no one else, that is deemed selfish. That is deemed self-obsessed, self-absorbed.
Yes.
It's not. And actually, if it is, selfishness should be a positive thing too.
Yeah.
Obviously, to a degree. Like anything, to a degree.
And what comes with that as well is that you may think, like, oh, that seems selfish, but by doing the opposite, you actually foster resentment. And so if you want to be the best partner and the best friend and the best daughter and the best mother, the best colleague, whatever that you can be, you need to actually put yourself first, because that way you are showing up as the most confident, the most energized, the most, you know, relaxed version of yourself. You know, you're not feeling neurotic about things, because neurotic energy is so off-putting to other people. You're not feeling neurotic because you're not trying to control the outcome of how people see things. You're relaxed because that's just who you are, and that makes you better for them. But it also means that in 10 years' time, you're not feeling resentment because you never did that travelling, you know?
It's like a mindset, isn't it? And it's practicing, like anything, practicing that thought process and patterning it in your mind.
Yeah.
Of doing things because, you know, you're happy with it and you want to. Again, a discussion I had with someone the other day about social media and oh, you know, should I post this? Shouldn't I? Is this okay? What do you think? And literally a friend of mine said to me, if you are happy with it, if you post it and you're happy with it, leave it up there.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
She said to me, if Barbara down the road thinks it's inappropriate, fuck Barbara. And I really actually want to get that on a phone case or something, because I just think, you know, like if someone somewhere out there thinks that something that you do is not what they would have done, they're a different person.
It's not their life,
and they are a different person, and that does not like have any kind of bearing or weight. I mean, like you say, your value, bringing it back to that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this concept as well feeds into insecurity, and that's why I'm not saying just like turn around one day and be like, fuck everybody, you know, what I want is right and what they want is wrong. It's like, use the energy that you're giving to other people to give to yourself, so that you can, like I said, heal your attachment style, so that you're not clingy or anxious or needy when it comes to your friends or your partners or whatever. You know, work on your self-discovery so that you understand more about what you like, not what you like to be seen as by other people. So it really is, it really, you know, I think we all had experiences when we're younger of, you know, having friends or dating somebody where we're like, you know, they don't reply for a day or something like that, and you're like, you know, why don't you like me anymore? Like, and sometimes we say things we wish we'd never said because it's embarrassing looking back on it, like, you know, and that, all of that behaviour, it's because there's unhealedness there, or you're learning. But that actually pushes people away. It's so unattractive. It's the opposite of magnetic. So it's like, by turning, like I keep saying, but by turning it inwards, you actually become more magnetic, because by giving somebody space, they're more likely to come to you.
So it's flipping it on its head in the sense of, when people say to work on a relationship, you need to sort of work on, you know, I suppose, accommodating that person and thinking about that other person. But to work on a relationship, you have to work on you, and then everything. And I can see it, like I can see the way, almost from like a third person perspective, I can see myself in the way that I interact, and there are certain things like unhealed wounds that mean that I am maybe overly sensitive with certain people, and you know, my snappiness with them it's a result of me not being you know, focused on myself and attentive to my needs and to my wounds and to the work that I need to do. And the quality of my relationships is directly influenced by how I'm feeling in myself that day.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling like I'm the shit today, and I'm happy with me today, and I've done what I wanted to do, and I'm cool with myself, of course I'm going to interact better with people around me. Of course we're going to have a better quality relationship, because I am
a better version of yourself. Yeah, 100%.
It's so easy to do, and it's so hard to achieve, and you have to work at it. I find this, I don't know if you do, but I find that I have to work at feeling confident in myself. It's like a process of me learning to trust who I am and be proud of who I am. It's not a sort of switch that you can just say, okay, cool, don't think of anyone else, think of yourself, and then you do it. Like, it is a daily choice.
Task. It's a choice
to make. A commitment, I suppose, like any relationship, commitment to improving and learning about yourself and nurturing yourself, and fighting your demons and your shadows, and then celebrating your, you know, successes and your values.
100%. And I think for me, like, the reason I wanted to talk about this today was because it's, sometimes you just need to hear it from somebody in that way for it to like flip a bit of a switch in your mind. Not that you'll be able to do 100% of it, but you realise that it is true.
That the mindset needs to shift.
Yes. And it's like, you know, you wouldn't go into a job interview and, you know, sit there and be like, you know, oh, I'm obsessed with you, I'm obsessed with your company, like, please like me, like, you know, that energy is just so off-putting, they would never hire you.
Like, I call it big dick energy. Can I say that? Do we have to bleep?
Is that what it is? That's not what it is.
No, but like big dick energy. That's what they associate it with. They associate it with men, obviously.
Yes.
The intonation is that it's like that egotistical, like, I'm like the bomb.com kind of. And I think it's having that, I think there's another word for it that's probably more appropriate for this podcast. Maybe it's like superhero energy, or
like main character energy.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Because what you're saying is you need to have main character energy.
Yeah.
Not desperate energy.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love how you spin that into something that was
Clarifying.
really like confusing into something that made sense. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And that, you know, switch is different for different people. Like, maybe, sorry, you
boss girl energy.
Boss girl energy.
Boss bitch.
Or
I feel like I'm getting
high
there.
value woman.
That's
like,
it.
Just knowing you're a high value woman as you are, and nothing that anyone else does can change that fact. And, you know, there are different, depending on your situation, different things will resonate, which is why I've given a few different examples of this podcast, because I want it to resonate with you, because I'm feeling very passionate about this concept at the moment, if you can't already tell. But, like, you know, when I say about you can't control the outcome, I really, really mean that, to the point where it's like, you know, you can beg if you're in uni or something, you can beg your boyfriend not to cheat on you. It will not change whether he will or not. It won't change the outcome. So why not do that, not beg, and just work on yourself, so that when or if that does happen, you're okay. You know who you are.
Yeah.
You can move on. You know that you're a high value woman and he didn't deserve you. Like, there's so many situations like that in life. Like, that's just one of many. The job interview one is another one, where people think, we all have done it, where we think we can control the outcome by putting so much energy and time, and but in a desperate way into something, not in a I'm going to research this job role thoroughly because I want to come into my interview prepared way, but in a
I'm going to obsess about what I'm going to wear for 3 hours and then choose something completely different anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, what can I wear that will make them like me the most? Do I want to come across as, you know, I don't want to come across as too intimidating, especially like women always feel that way, like, you know, so therefore, oh, I might add a little pink to this or whatever. No, you don't need to do any of that. You can just be yourself because you know your value, and if you go into that interview and you are a confident, high value person, and that's who you're putting across, they won't even remember what you were wearing.
And if Barbara down the street thinks it's inappropriate, finished off.
Fuck you, Barbara?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Fuck Barbara.
Fuck Barbara. There you go. Alright, I'll get off my soapbox now.
I really enjoyed that discussion though, and it reminds me that I need to continue working on it, because I go through waves where I'm actively aware of needing to move in that direction, and then I go through waves where I'm like, oh, please like my Instagram post.
Yeah.
So there's work to be done for me, but it's good to keep discussing it and going through it because it reminds you.
I think that's the case, and I'll probably have more well thought out thoughts on this in the future, because I think it's something I'm going to stick with for a while, this concept of like trying to work on that. But this is just something that the last few weeks I found
has been particularly
very inspiring and very like, and I think it comes with just getting older as well, that you just, I don't know, you just realise that you don't have to be likeable. Like you really don't. Like I don't have to try to be likeable.
You be yourself, and people will like you or they won't. And
exactly.
That's like as simple as.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to do cartwheels for Joe and Sarah and Barbara, because actually they're all going to probably want different gymnastic tricks anyway, and you can't do them all. Yeah,
so another example. Sorry, another one.
Another one.
I got another one.
Not done yet.
God damn it.
That's a trick.
But when I first met my boyfriend's parents beforehand, he was like, you know, telling me about them and kind of like, not saying like what to say and what not to say, but like, you know, just kind of giving me like a little briefing or whatever. And I was like, I don't need this. I'm not worried. They will like me because I'm likable, because I'm high value.
Yeah.
And they do like me. They love me.
Of course they do.
And I love them
they
back. And I think if I'd gone in with any kind of fake personality, if I'd gone in trying to impress them, if I'd gone in wearing a modest little outfit and minimal makeup and you know only spoke when spoken to and all this kind of stuff, not that's what he was saying, but you know like the way in which you think you'll impress your in-laws type thing, they wouldn't have liked me, and it would have been fake, and I wouldn't have liked myself.
It's true.
But I'm just myself,
and you wouldn't have been able to keep it up, because ultimately you are who you are. And to put on an act and the pretense and the energy that's involved and the conscious effort.
And I expect people to see me for who I see myself as, and if they don't, that's on them, not on me.
I like that. Yes.
Yes,
I'm feeling inspired, but would you like my Instagram post, please?
Yes, I will like it now.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that's enough rambling from me. We'll do a part 2 because
we'll need to.
Because we're going to do Cara's
Nice.
Don't know who needs to hear this.
Okay.
Statement.
I didn't think of something profound.
I've been rambling, so.
And I liked it. I appreciate it.
Hopefully there were some concise thoughts in there. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you guys. Come back next week for part 2.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share,
comment,
give us a 5-star rating and review.
Ooh, do they have that function
on Spotify and Apple, I believe? So drop us a comment on anything and we'll reply. Hit us up on Instagram.
Ooh, hit us at HMU. That's what the kids say.
HMU on Instagram. We are at Utterly Unfiltered, and we also are on TikTok at Utterly Unfiltered.
Yep.
And on YouTube at Utterly Unfiltered.
Oh my goodness! So basically, Utterly Unfiltered
everywhere.
is the one.
Have a great week.